Guys, I'm feeling good. I think it was on Thursday night when we did the showdown, Cram. I was coming off of not even being able to see. I got blinded during the day. I didn't know what was going on, but I can see clearly now. I've dug into this slate. I even got to make some lineups ahead of time. I am on top of my shit on this Monday. Let's do it.
I suffer from a debilitating condition known as atropic chokitis.
Peter's one of the greatest depositors I've ever seen.
Trust the process. Let's go. Let's go.
I got auto match with Levitan. This is bullshit.
If I just go the other way in that 66, I win all the money. All the money.
If I had 150 lineups, I'd win too.
Process over results.
Illuminati make a bitch go crazy. I don't know which one of these my baby. Bust out AP, coach 5 bullets in your head like KD. Bust it, bitch go bust it. And I had 10 pints with me in Russia.
Hey everyone.
Oh shit. Here we go again. Every Monday and Thursday night. Here we go again. How are we doing? Good night, Corey. Good night. How are you doing? We got Luke. Luke's like Marlon Mack. Man, we don't even get to take our shoes off. And Luke's already firing Marlon Mack takes in a GPP. What's up, Scott? Let's go. What's up, Willis? GE. That's true. I said GN, but we're not going to bed yet. No, we are just getting started. Now we're talking, Hugh. Now we're talking. I actually got to run my stuff tonight and able to compare all of the aggregated ownership versus the sim results. And I like Tyson Williams a lot. I like him a lot. He's showing up a ton in the sims, and I don't think he's going to be heavily owned. Of course, he was a late scratch last week, but I was doing some sleuthing on Twitter, and a lot of why he was inactive, I think, was just because he had made a few mistakes and the team was kind of punishing him. But I think the team has also seen what they have in Latavius Murray and Le'Veon Bell, and they know what that is. And I don't think it's what they like to see either. So I'm hopeful that Tyson Williams is going to have a bigger role tonight. And I do think he's one of those decision points on the slate at his price and his role that might go overlooked relative to what he would be otherwise. What's going on here? Jay Mike, no lineups tonight, just here for the vibes. We appreciate that. Yes. No need to be here. I was going to say you can be here even if you aren't building lineups. I will allow that. I won't have the bouncer throw you out at the door. You don't have to show your ID and your lineup card. Yeah, let's dive into this. Love Williams tonight. Shakti solo projecting. Don't steam him. I mean, we only have 86 people watching right now. I think some of those showdown contests have 200,000 people in it. We are still a very, very small fish in a big pond. But I appreciate the thought, Josh. I appreciate the thought. Lamar with 2 pass catchers, says Brandon. I don't mind that at all. I don't mind that at all. I'm with you, Greg. Pittman is also jumping out to me in the sims. Why don't we stop beating around the bush? Let's share the screen. Let's get to it here. Let's just do the baseline here on the input. So we do have the Baltimore Ravens as 7-point home favorites. And I was reading Cody Main's article up on ETR earlier. It's a great read if you guys are doing showdown prep. And, you know, both of these teams are very game script dependent as far as their situation, neutral rush and pass rate. So I do think using the sims to adjust these rush rates is going to be important as far as kind of seeing how these teams are going to use their personnel. I mean, with the Colts, Nahim Heinz versus Jonathan Taylor is one of the prime examples of, you know, Jonathan Taylor in a positive game script is going to get a ton of carries. He's going to be on the field a bunch. In a negative game script, we're going to see a ton of Nahim Heinz. He leads the backfield in routes run, 46.7%. He leads them in target share, 13.2%. So the sims in the default assumption are going to like Nahim Heinz and are going to like Jonathan Taylor less. And we can see here, based on the Vegas assumption, we're seeing a very low rush rate for the Colts at 39.5%. And so Jonathan Taylor's not going to project well. But I think if we want to be unique and we want to think about things through different lenses, then we can mess with this. What if the Colts have the lead? You know, what if their rush rate is up at 45% where they probably want to be. And what if the Ravens rush rate is down here at 45% and they're throwing at a higher clip? So those are the things that are fun with, but let's just see here with the baseline assumptions, how we're looking. I'm releasing them. I'm releasing them right now. We run them and then we release them. So no surprise here at the top, seeing a ton of Lamar Jackson, seeing a ton of Carson Wentz. But to me, the first immediate surprise here is Michael Pittman Jr., appearing in 12% of captain lineups. When I'm looking at aggregated ownership for him, I'm seeing him around 6% in the captain slot. So, I mean, this is a massive differential. We normally don't see spreads this big relative to leverage we're getting. So right there alone, Michael Pittman jumps out to me as one of the best leverage captain spots. He has a really nice role on the team right now. He's in the air yards by low model. He has a 26.5% target share. He has a 40% air yard market share. So everything looks nice for Michael Pittman. You expect them to be throwing. And the fact that the field is going to use him 50% less than what the sim results are showing seems to me like a near jam spot for Michael Pittman and captain. I'm doing a 3 max tonight, playing a $20 3 max, and I am playing Michael Pittman in captain in 2 of those lineups right now. Marquise Brown looks very nice tonight. Yeah, he's interesting to me just because I think his ownership might be in check just because he's priced up. As far as in the sims here, he's showing up in captain 6.3% of the time, 35.6% of the time total. I'm not seeing him, pop necessarily as a huge leverage because his ownership is going to come in decently high. I'm seeing his captain ownership at around 8%, and we're seeing him appear here only 6%. So I don't think it's bad. I mean, that 2 percentage points isn't, like a huge deal. He's not like a auto shove to me, but in general, especially in large field, I like having the wide receivers in the captain slot. So I don't mind that at all. Where is Willis? Corey and Willis have been battling it out in a showdown slate head-to-head contest. We will keep us posted on how that goes. Tyson, like 30%. Does chalk continue smashing close to week 5? I don't think Tyson is going to be chalk. I don't think that's going to be the case. I mean, I'm seeing him right now around 10%, 15%. So that's why he's looking like such a nice leverage play to me. Maybe he gets steamed a little bit here, but I don't think he's going to be chalked. This number right here is how often he's appearing in the simulated lineups, this 31%. So for some reason, our ownership here hasn't updated, but I'm happy to pass along some aggregated ownership that I have. And I'm seeing Tyson Williams in the flex appearing in about 15% of lineups. So, I mean, that looks incredibly nice to me here. We're getting a ton of leverage on Tyson Williams in the flex relative to current ownership projections. A couple other guys that jumped out to me is Nahim Heinz. So we see Nahim Heinz here and showing up in 36% of total lineups. I'm seeing his ownership around, let's see here, around 15%. So again, another leverage spot here of him showing up in almost double the amount of flex lineups that he is relative to the field. And to me, this is really where I love the sims, because if you think about median projections and how they handle Nahim Heinz, they are having to view him through the lens of all the different kind of game scripts. What is his most likely outcome? And you end up splitting the difference between, Colts totally trailing or say Colts maintaining a short lead or playing it close. The beauty of the sims is they play out all of these different scenarios based on specific game flows. And when we input into this game how Vegas is projecting it, we are getting a lot of Nahim Heinz. If they're down 7, that's going to be a more binary situation where we're seeing a ton of Nahim Heinz on the field. So I think that's a spot I want to take advantage of. And I think, And I think the thing I like too is Nahim Heinz and Tyson Williams, I would assume, are positively correlated. If Tyson Williams is getting a ton of burn, the Colts are probably winning, or sorry, the Ravens are probably winning decently. And in that scenario, Nahim Heinz is probably on the field a lot. And on top of that, these two guys are showing the most leverage in the flex spot of any players tonight. So I love that. They're both cheap too. I mean, Tyson Williams, 1,200, Nahim Heinz, 5,600. That stands out to me a lot. Is Captain Sammy too cute? In the buy low model and nobody wants to do it. Yeah. I mean, according to the Sims, it's not too cute. We see Sammy Watkins here, 8.8%. I was also running my stuff on the, my captain screener, and the two biggest leverage captains were Michael Pittman, who I've already mentioned, and Sammy Watkins is second. He's appearing here 8.8% of Sims. And I'm also seeing that his captain ownership is only going to be around 4%. So, I mean, I think that looks very nice to me there as far as Sammy Watkins captain ownership. So I don't think it's too cute. I mean, he's been kind of just right behind Marquise Brown as far as production, but he's actually been leading them in target share. He has a 25% target share, and he's second in air yards market share, 28%. So, I mean, he's kind of right there with Marquise Brown, at least in role. And I think that sets up pretty nicely for him. The other, I mean, I'm not seeing a ton of other good leverage for captain. I mean, I am seeing some Carson Wentz show up here. You know, we see him appearing 10% of the time. I think ownership on Carson Wentz is probably going to be more in the 7 to 8% range for captain. So maybe there's a little something there. But yeah, all those look nice to me. And let's take a look at how some of these lineups are looking in this scenario. Let me zoom out here. There we go. Greg asking, what product own do you aim for when you look at the simulated lineup? So I'm scaling this definitely for the contest sizes I'm in. I think, you know, if I'm in really, really big stuff, like if you're playing those $3 contests with 200,000 people in it, like I legit want to be sub 2%. You know, see this 0.61 right here? You're getting the 0.6 because you have a low-owned Tyson and the Baltimore Ravens D, or this 1 point here, you know, a Tyson Williams with Ravens D, 0.7. I mean, I want to be down there and maybe even a little bit more off the board. I mean, it's so hard not to be duped in those 200,000 person contests. You know, in a 20 max I'm in tonight with, you know, only 1,200 people, I'm definitely more content down here in this under 10 range. And what's nice when we look at these lineups that are showing up, some nights we look at these lineups, like I was looking at them last night for the Kansas City in the Bills game, and the product own was high on a lot of those lineups. Tonight, I'm only seeing one here that's even over 40. There's one at 42. Then there's another here at 226. A Sammy Watkins, Wentz, Andrews, Jack Doyle, Pittman, Lamar Jackson. But a lot of what the sim is spitting out is not too high of a product own, which definitely seems nice to me if the field isn't playing these guys we like at the rate that the math is liking them. Nahim Heinz, Pittman, Sammy Watkins, Tyson Williams, all of them seem to be solid plays tonight. Is Tyson captain too ballsy? It feels a little ballsy to me, but we're seeing him show up in 3%. I think if you are in that super large field stuff, I think it's completely viable. Probably want to play Ravens D if you're playing Tyson captain, but I don't mind that. Lou Dog has been the first TD scorer whisperer this year. I think Lou's coming off of 2 in a row that he hit. I think he hit the DK Metcalf, and then he hit another one before that. So I will give you my permission to tail Lou Dog. I did put up a couple, I did do an underdog pick'em that I liked using the Run the Sims tools here. If you guys want to tail me on that, I can pull this up 1 second. There was 2 things that were jumping out, and it actually lines up with some of these showdown plays that we were talking about here. Here, I posted the link if you guys want to tail me, but I am doing this Pittman over 58.5 yards And then Latavius Murray under 52.5 rush yards. So the Run the Sims prop tools, Michael Pittman, we have him at a median of 64 receiving yards. So that seemed like a nice number there, having a little cushion at 58.5. And if you're betting it on some other books, I think you can get it around 55.5. But in this parlay on Underdog, I got it at 58.5, but still nice cushion there at 64. And then seeing Latavius Murray, his median here at 44 rushing yards. And so getting that at 52.5 also seemed nice there. So that is my Underdog bet for tonight. I also bet the Nahim Heinz over 40.5 total yards rushing and receiving. That number seemed pretty nice to me. Let's go back to some of these custom lineups here at the top. Again, you love to see it. You were just asking about Tyson and the captain. Well, here you go, Lou. Right here, this fifth lineup here appears 10 times, sixth lineup. Tyson Williams, Jonathan Taylor, Nahim Heinz, Wentz, Pittman, Lamar Jackson. Now that is a funky lineup. And I think using Taylor and Heinz together will probably be pretty unique. I guess narratively, that's a weird story to tell yourself about both Taylor and Heinz getting there, but maybe not. And he's appearing in a decent amount of these. Here's another one that makes maybe a little more sense. Tyson Williams, Jonathan Taylor, Sammy Watkins, Carson Wentz, Michael Pittman, Lamar Jackson. I do think Zach Pascal is a guy who will probably come in under owned. He's like the classic pay up to be contrarian play tonight just because he is so pricey. I don't think the math is going to like a Zach Pascal. But I do think his role is fairly interesting. And he could be someone you could use there as well because the optimizer isn't going to like him on his own. Tyson Williams over Mac. Mac saved 700, but not sure if it's worth it. Yeah, I mean, Mac is just getting squeezed in both directions, right? Like he's going to need, he basically needs an injury or the Colts to be doing really well to get in there because there's no reason Jonathan Taylor is going to come off the field much. And then if they're trailing, Nahim Heinz is going to be on the field to where, to me, Tyson Williams in the Ravens backfield is more of a black box situation where he was just inactive, but Latavius hasn't, been, scorching the earth on fire. And now they could be in a game where they use Tyson Williams a lot. And I don't see Marlon Mack having access to the kind of ceiling that Tyson Williams does. But again, I know it's the ultimate out, in a large field GPP, you can knock yourself out there. Why don't we mess with some of the inputs here? I do want to see what happens if we look at the Colts winning. Say if the Colts win by 7, I think that would be fairly interesting if we just switch these. We go to 26.5 here. We go to 19.5 here. We bring down the Ravens rush rate, to 45 because they're passing more in this scenario. We bring the Colts rush rate up to probably where they would want to be, more at about 45. Maybe we lower their pace a smidge if they're winning. Maybe we up the pace just like a smidge for the Ravens if they're losing. And maybe we up their rush TD ratio just a little bit too in this scenario. And we can see how much things change here. So we're still seeing Lamar Jackson and Carson Wentz at the top, which isn't surprising. But the big shift here, and again, this makes sense, right? We see Pittman drop a little bit, not a ton. He still is appearing in the captain slot a good amount, but he is dropping in the flex, which it does make a ton of sense that if the Colts are winning by 7 and are able to kind of pick up their rush rate, that he would get flipped by Jonathan Taylor. And their salary is very similar. And again, I love when the Sims can kind of back up what intuitively makes sense, that if the Colts are winning, Jonathan Taylor would be getting used a ton. Jonathan Taylor now all of a sudden shows up in the captain slot 10% of the time. His captain own is going to be around there. And so this is why I think Jonathan Taylor is tricky, is because the rate in which the field is going to play him is as if the Colts are going to be winning the game, which isn't the most likely scenario. So to me, as much as I love Jonathan Taylor, we're not even getting any leverage by playing this game scenario out differently than our competitors. So that's why I would rather play it in the other direction if we're not getting a big captain leverage spot with Jonathan Taylor. You do see the Colts defense jump up here again, which would make sense if they're winning a close game. Change it to a slow, sloggy 17-13 Ravens win. Okay, we can do that. We can do that. The Goose wants to know Campbell or Tucker. I always go with the receiver here, but Tucker is making it a tough decision. Yeah, well, this is why I think it's fun to mess around with the Sims and play out a few different situations. In this scenario where the Colts are winning, it looks like Paris Campbell is popping a little bit more. He's showing up in 14.4%, and Justin Tucker is only showing up in 8.7%. And I also think there's going to be a decent ownership gap. Justin Tucker is going to be more popular than Paris Campbell. So if he's going to be more popular and the math likes Paris Campbell a little more in this scenario, I'm probably leaning Campbell. The thing about Justin Tucker too is he has that like name brand kicker recognition. People love playing Justin Tucker. Everyone thinks fondly of Justin Tucker. So it's not like you're getting a Vizcaino, off-brand discount on him. Sorry to Vizcaino. I'm still triggered. Adam Levitan called him the real Visca last night on the Tilt Space, and I have not recovered since. All right, what did we want to do? We wanted a 17-13 slog fest, I think is what Brandon wanted. All right, so we'll do 17-13. Now, let's revert these back because then these rush rates will be more similar. So we're just going to bring this score way down. So we'll go 17-13. I don't think we need to actually change the pace and the rush rate a ton. I guess we could boost the rush rate a little bit in this scenario. Maybe Colts are closer there because it's not a huge disparity. Let's see what this does. You hate slow and sloggy. I know, but sometimes we have to lean into it. If the field always wants these games to be high-scoring shootouts, sometimes the way to play them is slow and sloggy. So in this scenario, we get back to similar results as we did in the 26-19 scenario. It didn't change things a ton. Lamar Jackson and Carson Wentz up here. Michael Pittman comes back over Jonathan Taylor. We're still seeing a ton of Sammy Watkins, Marquise Brown, Mark Andrews, all of the familiar names. Tyson Williams still up here a ton at 30%. We can see what some of these lineups look like. There's a Nahim Heinz captain. That one's down at 3% product owned. Heinz, Andrews, Carson Wentz, Lamar Jackson, Tyson Williams, Jonathan Taylor. I don't know how I feel about these Nahim Heinz, Jonathan Taylor lineups. Maybe we just trust the math. What else do we have here? Are there any other interesting captains that jump out? Lots of Pittman, lots of Lamar, lots of Andrews. I think Lamar's just so hard to use in the captain spot. I mean, I think his ownership is going to be around 34% is what I'm seeing. So that's just tough. We're not getting. He's showing up in the captain 24.7% of the time, and he's going to be rostered around 35% of the time. So I don't really want to mess around with Lamar Jackson captain. I get it. There's a reason he is this high owned because he clearly has the easiest path to being the highest scoring captain. But if we're looking for leverage points, I think it's a pretty obvious one to not play Lamar Jackson in the captain. And we're still seeing him, appear 57% of the time in the flex. And I think that is closer to what his ownership percentage will be, where there's not as much disparity between his sim captain versus sim own as there is with flex sim versus flex own. Am I making sense? That's a riddle there. What I'm trying to say is I prefer Lamar Jackson in flex because you're not getting much leverage in captain. Ryan Hodge says, bro, I get on this morning and you're streaming. I get on this evening and you're streaming. You're grinding. I don't know if you heard, Hodge, but I left my job. And this is my job now. And I'm begging you to sign up for Run the Sims and use promo code Pete so I can keep streaming around the clock. Thank you, though, Hodge. Also, shout out to Hodge. Absolutely nailed the Tom Brady double stacks. I saw him and his leverage model over there IDing that. And I should have listened to you, Hodge. I should have listened to you. The Tom Brady double stacks won people a lot of money this week. Shout out, Hodge. Fenny, let's go, Pete. Yes, let's go. Any other things you guys want me to look at here? Joey says, I'm struggling to build 5-1 or 4-2 Colts lineup with Pittman. Let's build one. Okay, let's do it. I like this suggestion. That's how we can wrap up. Let's build one with Pittman here. Thank you, Phil. For the love of God, smash the like button. I don't ask for a lot around here. Just smash the damn like button. Ryan, I can't condone this behavior. Rodrigo Gotenship, captain, lots of leverage. I guess stranger things have happened, man. I guess they have. What contest should we play for this 4-2 Pittman that we want to build? Do we have any single entries that haven't filled yet? Let's see. All right, let's do a bubble screen. We'll do, okay, this has, I guess, no, I want to do about this size. Let's do 4,000 entries. And let's build this. Let's build this with the chat here. All right, so we're going to do a Pittman because we like that. And Joey said he's struggling to build 5-1 or 4-2 Colts lineup with Pittman captain. So I do think if we are going to do a Pittman captain, also let's reset this too and look back at our ideas here as far as Pittman lineups, because I do like looking at these 4 ideas. So the one thing about Pittman too is I do think we want to have him with Carson Wentz. I think that makes a ton of sense. And if I'm just hand building here, I also want to have Nahim Heinz in. I think we want to play this like the Colts are losing. And then we've already talked about how much leverage we're seeing with Tyson Williams. So I like having Tyson Williams in here. We, envision these scenarios where the Ravens are up big or up because of the Baltimore running game. And then we're seeing a lot of Tyson Williams here. And now the thing is here, if we go with a 4-2, I think we can get up to a Lamar Jackson at 12-6. Just say, what if all the rushing touchdowns and Baltimore production come through a Tyson Williams and Lamar Jackson? And now we're left in here in a range where we can. Now I see why you're saying this is tricky. So we're just barely off Zach Pascal, which kind of stinks. I guess we could come down from Lamar Jackson, or we could just leave some salary on the table with like a Mo Alley Cox type. Yeah, that's a little tougher. If we came down from Lamar, let's go back to our lineups here and look at some of these Pittman. So here's a Pittman, Wentz, Lamar, JT, Tyson, Jack. Okay. This one I think is right up your alley, right? So this one just gets rid of Nahim Heinz and goes to Jonathan Taylor here, which again, I think that game script is a little bit funky to nail, but at least you're then getting your 4-2 in there with Jack Doyle and who's our other one that we haven't got in? Oh, and Lamar still. So that one I think is completely viable, as evidenced by it appearing 14 times in these simulated lineups. But I think we can scroll down and find some more ideas here if we find another Pittman. Here's a Pittman Heinz. This is a 4-2 going in the other direction. This one's kind of fun. Pittman, Heinz, Lamar, Tyson Williams, Marquise Brown, Sammy Watkins. I don't mind that one at all. Here's a Pittman with Pat. I think this is our one. Here's our 5-1. We found it. 1.6 product own. We go Michael Pittman, Pascal, Heinz, Wentz, Taylor, Tyson. There it is. I'm putting that in this. We're just full onslaughting the Colts. We're fading Lamar. It feels scary as hell. And who's the last guy that's getting in here? Jonathan Taylor. Oh, baby. Who am I missing? I'm missing someone. Pittman, Pascal. No, it has Heinz too. It has Heinz too. Is that a bridge too far? How about this? This is a single entry. I think you could toss Andrews into this. So you go Tyson Williams and Mark Andrews. You go Pittman, Wentz, Pascal, Taylor. I like this. All right. There's my lineup. There's your 4-2. All right. The chat was yelling their suggestions here. Are tight ends going to keep obliterating these slates and ruining main slates? Probably. Oh, wow. The contest I tried to enter filled. So now they made a smaller one. Okay. Just in time for Galaxy Brain season. That's what we do around here. We Galaxy Brain it. All right, guys. This has been a Showdown Cram. These are supposed to be like 20 minutes, and I went for 30 minutes. But that was because I was feeling this slate. Top Shot Streams was warning me that contest was going to fill. Thank you. All right, guys. Good luck tonight. What do I got going on? Tonight on the channel, the NGMI, Club MGMI guys will be simulcasting. They're having a pizza party. They're going to answer questions about NFTs, talk about all the other crazy stuff going on in the world of NFTs. So if you want to hang around for that, they will be live on my channel at 9:30. And then we'll be back tomorrow for Club Top Shot. We had to take last week off. People were sick. People were traveling. We will have a fun episode. Even Peter Jennings is going to be back tomorrow. So hope you guys have a good slate. Good luck. Send me your screenshots of all your winning Michael Pittman captain lineups tonight, and we will talk to you later.